We're all great at managing roadmaps and shipping features for our products, but when's the last time you managed your career like a product? This guy built an AI system that looks at your weekly work, tracks your conversations with clients, looks at customers, compares it to your OKRs and personal feedback, and gives you a promotion readiness score. Here's what it looks like. So we've walked through, you guys, the daily plan, the PRD creation, the Claude MD, the Kanban board. This is the life cycle of a lot of the PM work we're gonna do, but we promised you an operating system. An operating system is also gonna help you with your career, with your goals. Can you show us how the operating system can help with that?
So what I'm going to pull together now is just to show you how the career planning piece works. A lot of what we do is we're very, very good at shipping features, all of that, but we don't really look after our own personal roadmap so much. And so what I wanted to pull in here was this ability to actually look at holistically longer term, your career goals, your annual reviews, any of the feedback you get gets collected through Dex into a feedback system and gets matched up with where you want to be in the conversations you want to be having at the end of the year coming to review time. But at the same time, you want those longer term goals to kind of connect into your quarterly goals and your weekly planning. So there's an MCP server in here, which is called a career MCP server, which I just went in, had a chat, say, build me this server. I want to make sure there's a nice tight logic that as an MCP server, it's making sure happens. And then it's been quite magical what it's been doing. Let me quickly show you through X-Ray. Okay, so I've just done an X-ray on the career MCP, and what it's now doing is it's showing me how the whole thing works. And so essentially what it will do is it will scan for evidence. So as I dance with the AI every week, it's listening in for evidence to hoover in, whether it might be granola transcripts or whatever, to bring that in so that evidence compounds over time. And it's now looking at skills gap analysis. So based on what evidence I have, the gaps I need to close, it's coming up with, again, guidance on all of that, and then looking at a promotion readiness score at the end of all of that. So it's at a very, very high level. There's a lot more behind it I won't go into now. Let me just pull in what I've got for myself. So I said, show me visually on a mermaid how my career goals are laddering into my quarterly goals, which ladders into my weekly goals. To what extent am I off? What should I be thinking about doing more of? And is my quarterly planning for this quarter the right things to be pushing on? So honest assessment, thought leadership, really, really strong. What's broken? I have not done too much in terms of expanding my strategic influence over the last few weeks across the wider business. That's because I'm focused on other stuff. And so it's saying for your quarterly goals, though you don't have any weekly activity at all, X, Y, Z. So across these 4 quarterly goals, these are missing gaps right now, which is fantastic, right? Because that means that as I'm doing my weekly planning, it then tells me where there might be gaps that I need to be leading more into, which is just superb.
Wow. And so that resonated with you. You felt like that was on point feedback.
Yeah, it was absolutely. I mean, I'm mindful of it, but what's great there is when you go into your weekly plan, you just do your /weekly plan, it's able to say to you, this is what I think you should be doing. Based on what I've heard over the last few calls, over the last week, based on what you've been doing within Cursor, within Dex, these are the gaps. And you're leading far too much in over here. You need to course correct, invest more in over here, because these are goals you have up in the next 8-9 weeks. You need to pull your socks up on these areas. Here's how I suggest you do it. It's just brilliant. It's bonkers.
All right. So we've given everybody the high level. I want to make this super clear for people. Can we show people what's the difference between a skill and MCP and how you're going to use those?
So skills, as we saw earlier, sometimes they get invoked or not. And it's a bit like the Claude MD file. It's a little bit, it just misbehaves sometimes. But a skill at its core is essentially a job description that you give to your AI. So it knows what those steps are to do once you issue a skill. They actually call them commands now at Anthropic. Skills and commands have come together. But what you have is then on the left, you've got that job description, plain English instructions on what to be doing. And then MCP is very different. MCP is those guardrails I've talked about before, where it tells you how to be interacting with other services, what steps to be following. It's just far tighter and making sure that things are a lot more deterministic and far less probabilistic in your system. So what I've done is I've created a task MCP server because I want my tasks to be created in a consistent way all the time. I always want to make sure the AI is knowing to look for certain pillars to attach my tasks to look for certain projects that are connected to those tasks and infer what projects they are. If you do it with a skill, it might not necessarily always follow those steps. MCP, on the other hand, makes sure that it always happens. And so it's a far better way to actually, far better way to make sure that your system is tighter than you'd otherwise have it.
Today's episode is brought to you by Jira Product Discovery. If you're like most product managers, you're probably in Jira, tracking tickets and managing the backlog. But what about everything that happens before delivery? Jira Product Discovery helps you move your discovery, prioritization, and even road mapping work out of spreadsheets and into a purpose-built tool designed for product teams. Capture insights, prioritize what matters, and create roadmaps you can easily tailor for any audience. And because it's built to work with Jira, everything stays connected from idea to delivery. Used by product teams at Canva, Deliveroo, and even The Economist. Check out why and try it for free today at Atlassian.com/product-discovery. That's Atlassian.com/product-discovery. Jira Product Discovery. Build the right thing. I hope you enjoyed that short clip. You can check out the full episode here.